Yo, 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 yo. Not trying to double up on y'all. Yo, we are about to talk about a few different things. I just need to set some stuff up real quick so I can have my YouTube chat so I can actually be able to keep up with what some of you guys are saying. Looks like we got that set up. If you are here, let me know in the comments or in the chat box how the audio levels are, because I am curious. Just gotta get this set up first and we'll be good to go. Still getting this figured out. Okay. Yeah, I think we're just gonna jump into it. If you're on Facebook, I don't think I'm gonna be able to see your comments right away, so I apologize. I'll work on trying to get that together. But today, I wanted to go over a few different things. Today, I want to talk about Mark Cuban and his 9 rules to become rich. And I think that's super applicable, whether you want to be rich or not. I think, if you do follow these rules and you have all this money and you hate being rich, give it away. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you don't want to be wealthy, that's fine. It's not a sin to be wealthy. However, I do think that it can be not God glorifying if you're pursuing wealth, right? Because the Bible tells us not to toil on accumulating wealth. However, here at the Debt Free Mafia, we view wealth and money as a tool, right? A tool given by God to be able to use for His glorification. So that's what we do here at the Debt Free Mafia. So, guys, if you're in the stream or if you're just on the video, let me know where you're from in the chat. Love to talk with you guys, answer some of your questions. Again, if you're on Facebook, I'm having a hard time seeing that chat. Maybe I can pull it up on my phone, but not having as much luck with that one. I'm still trying to get my streaming set up because I want to do more lives like this and be able to talk to you guys and kind of listen to what you have to say and what questions you guys have. So let me see if I can pull it up because I would really like that. Okay, I've got it on my phone, so I think I should be able to. I'll keep that up over here. Okay, cool. So, guys, anyways, guys, if you don't know me, my name is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I'm the owner of the Debt Free Mafia, and I am all about helping people better their financial situations, whether that is getting out of debt, whether it's establishing a budget, or whether it's setting aside money so that you can save and be able to retire well and be able to give well. So that's what I'm big on. Guys, if you're down with the Debt Free vibe and you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and give the page a follow. We do lots of content around debt-free living. Today, I wanted to share my screen and react to this article by My Money Wizard on Mark Cuban and his 9 rules to becoming wealthy, essentially. So I think there's a lot of good tidbits in there, and I'll give you my 2 cents from a debt-free standpoint on what I think for these things. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. Okay, cool. So I kind of wanted to go through this stuff. Again, it's Mark Cuban. If you don't know Mark Cuban, he's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he's on Shark Tank. Very successful entrepreneur. Has done a lot of really cool stuff. It's a cool article. Go check it out, Money Wizard, if you want to read through it. I'm just going to kind of go through the talking points. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. But anyways, let's go ahead and we'll start off. We'll start with his first point, and that's living like a student, right? It's very, very important. And before we even read what he has to say, the average millionaire reads up to 5 books a month, 1 at least a month, right? So always learning, always taking time to figure that stuff out is super important. I love his little line right here because that's how we live. It's when you get your first job, it's really cool. I remember looking at cars going, I want that car. Fortunately, I kept my clunker. If you don't know, I am not a fan of car payments. I think they're a huge waste of money. And really there's no point to it. They make cars well enough now. A used car, even with 100,000 miles, is very reliable. Also, we're big believers in the emergency fund. So not if it breaks down, but when it breaks down, you'll have money to cover that because, guys, it just happens with older vehicles. My wife and I both drive older vehicles, but they're paid for, and it saves us roughly. Some of my clients have car payments over $1,000, and that blows my mind because if you're investing $1,000 a month for the next 20 years, you're going to do really well. And this negative interest rate on the car loan is going to cost you money in the long run. So anyways, that's my little blurb. I always hate on car payments, so that's me real quick. Let me check. Guys, living like a student. Again, it's really important. Got to always be adaptive in learning. And then on top of that, I love how he parallels it with basically living like he's broke. He said we can probably still taste the ramen noodles from this lifestyle. I think it's important to understand that when it comes to wealth, it's probably more important to have a behavioral change than necessarily a monetary budget mathematical analysis change, right? Because behavior really controls all of that. You can have a nice, awesome budget, but if you don't follow it, it's worthless. So, there's this mentality that most millionaires share, and that is living well below their means, and that is not living excessively, not buying all the nicest stuff, or a lot of millionaires are disguised as middle income people who just do a good job of investing and not splurging their money. They also live with a lot more peace in this area because they don't have to worry about money, which is one of the number one sources of stress in America today. So guys, again, if you're joining me, what's up, Philip? Philip's chilling with us on Facebook. That's what's up. Guys, again, I think that's a really good, important subject, is living below your means. Okay, this is another one, which I didn't know this about Mark Cuban, but he was not a fan of credit cards. He's a fan of using debit card and cash instead of a credit card. I've heard the arguments time and time again about whether you should have a credit card, whether you shouldn't have a credit card. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell people not to have a credit card. Reason being is because the statistics back up that people are not responsible with credit cards. Everyone says, hey, I'm going to pay this off at the end of the month, and then they don't. And then it ends up costing interest, and interest builds. And then I think the average millennial has around $15,000 to $17,000 in credit card debt, which is astounding. That's way too much. So stay away from those credit cards. Save up to 6 months of income. That's pretty good. What we recommend, I recommend people to save up 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So this is 3 months of rent, to 3 to 6 months of rent, 3 to 6 months of like groceries, 3 to 6 months of your electric bill. Basically your budget, whatever you have budgeted to have to pay out for that month. Multiply that by at least 3. Or 6 if you want that extra cushion. We do 6 because my wife works in the oil field, and that can be volatile sometimes, and so we just want to have that little extra cushion should something crazy happen, because it can. That's just what happens here in the oil field. So he's a big fan of investing, so putting savings into a mutual fund. Fan of mutual funds. Basically, if you don't understand what a mutual fund is, it's a group of funds managed by a third party to do well, basically manage your money for you. So it's kind of like you throw money into a pot, they take all that money from you and a bunch of other people that have thrown money into the pot and invested, and basically pay you the interest that you make on it. So very important. That's something that we here at the Debt Free Mafia don't encourage until we get the debt paid off. Again, that's another episode to talk about that, but I think that's important. Investing up to 10% savings, high risk investments. This one I'm not so big on, just because I'm all for this if you've got your debt paid for, you've got your house paid off, you're already contributing 15% to a solid retirement fund. If you are doing so well that you just got an extra 10% laying around that you don't know what to do with, and you want to take some wild chances, I'm going to tell you this is like gambling, But hey, you can budget that and make it into like basically your high risk, high reward. But one thing is if you are going to invest in risky things like such as cryptocurrency or maybe some like high risk, different kinds of real estate investments, I think that's something that you've got to almost count as a loss when you are making those investments. So they're just really, really risky. And I'd rather you invest in safe stuff. And then if you have excessive, be sure to budget for it and count it as a loss when you do make those investments. So buying consumables in bulk, I'm okay with this one. I just don't think that it necessarily saves a ton. Especially if you're just trying to pay your debt right now, don't worry about this because that requires a big upfront cost. Let's get your debt paid off. Let's get your cash flow moving back up. And once we get your cash flow moving back up, hey, then that's when we're going to start going in on buying consumables in bulk. I don't have a Sam's Club membership, but I know people that like to take advantage of it because they can buy, toilet paper in bulk or protein shakes in bulk, whatever it might be. So 7 is negotiate using cash. Cash is king, they say. It might not be forever, but negotiating using cash really does help you. A lot of times in real estate investments, somebody who can say, I'll pay cash for this house is a lot of the times more likely to get the house because especially if they're overbidding on the house. So what's happening right now, especially here in Texas, is there's people who are saying, you know what, we'll pay $100,000 over asking price. Well, that's great, but the fact is they're getting, that's great for the seller, but the fact is that they're getting the loan through the bank. The bank is going to send out an appraiser. They're going to appraise the house. The house is not going to be worth $100,000 over asking, and guess what? They're going to say, we're only going to clear you up to basically whatever asking or maybe just tiny over asking for you to get it. However, the person using cash for this, they don't have to worry about that because they can just pay cash. Granted, I don't recommend overpaying on a house, especially with kind of the way the market is trending right now. So let's not do that. Okay, going back to 8, read books. Again, we talked about that earlier. It's very important that you're always learning more and more and more. I do this all the time. I picked up some new books recently this month that I'm going to be reading, and then I like to finish them before I talk about them, but that's something that we'll be talking about in the future. And then Nice Works. World's Richest Dudes, it's not about money. Honestly, guys, this is really one of the best goals that you can have when it comes to accumulating wealth. Be generous. There are so many people in need, and they don't just need you to give them, $20 so that they can buy dinner. I mean, let's do some like really impactful stuff. Let's invest in certain things around the community that are going to better these people. And the famous saying, and I tell this with my clients that I work with, you can feed a man a fish, feed him for the day. You can teach a man to fish, and you can feed him forever, right? So I think if you can find some stuff that you're passionate about, that you want to better the world around you, and you want to be generous with, that is probably one of the best motivators and one of the best goals you could have in building wealth. So guys, let me know what you think about Mark Cuban in the comments. Let me know which one you liked, which one you don't agree with. I always like to know. Just because it's good, guys. Again, if you don't know us, we're the Debt Free Mafia. We're all about living a debt-free lifestyle, living personal finance to our best. If you're down with the Debt Free vibe, be sure to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's where we do most of our content. Also, following along here on Facebook is great as well. So, guys, that's it for the Mark Cuban video, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right. Okay, so for those of you that are sticking around in the live stream, the next thing I wanted to cover is the cost of used cars and why they are so expensive right now. So I'm gonna switch back here to the face cam. Used cars, they are very expensive right now. In fact, they are up 15% from just 12 months ago, if you can believe it. And that is pretty crazy, right? So why is that? Why are used cars going up so much in price? Obviously here at the Debt Free Mafia, we're advocates for not having car payments. I push my clients onto used cars that they can pay cash for. And that's a little bit harder to do this year than it was last year. So what is that? What's the reason? Well, there's a few different reasons. It essentially comes down to supply and demand. We talk about this a lot. If there's a greater supply of things, usually the cost goes down. the demand goes down. Usually if there's a shorter supply, the demand goes up and the cost goes up. That's really what it's coming down to. So as you guys know, we're coming out of the pandemic. In the pandemic, there was huge supply chain shortages that started to happen because workers weren't working to produce those parts that we use to build vehicles. So what's happening is, you can even see it sometimes at your local dealership. The local dealerships are actually have a lot less cars than what they normally do. A lot of them do. Yours might not, but ours do here. I've seen them. They're a little picked over, right? Not only that, a lot of people took their stimulus checks and used their stimulus checks as essentially their down payment on new cars also. For whatever reason, people said, you know what, we just got out of a pandemic, went through a minor recession, I'm gonna go buy a brand new car. I don't know where that came from, but people thought that. So there's this huge buying surge that we had this last year. Inventory is low on new vehicles, so guess what? Yeah, that makes used cars more expensive. So there's some good and bad with that. Not only that, there's a issue that's really been driving that. On top of that, there's a microchip shortage. So as you know, most of these new vehicles are smart, right? They have a software system that requires microchips, and there's a microchip shortage, again, because of the supply issues that we were talking about. So this is really delaying things. I know people who are waiting on vehicles because they don't have this part, right, that they ordered like 6 months ago. So yeah, that's a big issue. So here is the bright side of that, and so you can hear me out here. If you have a car payment and you're not a fan of it, and you're wanting to, and you're like, you know what, I'm about this debt-free lifestyle, I want to get rid of this car payment, I want more cash every month, I want to be able to do the things I want to do, I want to be able to invest more, I want to be able to fund my emergency fund more, whatever it is, here's your opportunity. I think this is a great opportunity for you if you have a car payment that you're ready to get rid of. Sell it. So if you're selling it at a premium right now because there's such a huge demand for used cars right now. And with that, what I recommend doing is, before you sell it, let's make sure you got a car in place. So you might be saying, well, it's fine if I sell it, then I have to overpay for just the next used car that I find. True. However, what I recommend, and this has worked for my clients, and I really, really strongly recommend this, I would ask you to be open, a little bit vulnerable and humble right here. Ask around, ask your friends, ask Facebook, ask everybody you know, hey, do you have an older vehicle that works that you're not using that I could buy that's not very expensive? It works, guys. I've had clients do this and be able to find, they said, oh yeah, well, we got my grandmother's vehicle who had passed away, and it's not being used anymore, and we weren't sure what to do with it. And not only that, if you're sharing that you're on a debt-free journey and that you're selling your car, getting rid of your payment, essentially, you know, I think that really goes a long ways too, because people really will buy into your story and want to help if you're just open about it. I know it's not easy because personal finance is a very prideful thing. I get it. I deal with it all the time, but I think this is a really great opportunity for you to sell your used vehicle at a premium, get plenty of cash, use a little bit of that cash. I'd really recommend, if you could find a vehicle for less than $3,000, that's really ideal. They're out there. Again, be sure to ask around. I know it for a fact because I've had clients find them. Also, you get a premium for that used car, and then all the rest of that money you got left over for that car that's worth more can go towards your smallest debt. Right, we preach debt snowball here. We've got more videos about that if you want to check it out. But debt snowball will take all that extra cash from this old vehicle, and we'll knock out a big old chunk of debt, if not all your debt, from that used car, because you'll get rid of your auto loan and you'll get some extra cash, hopefully, if you're right side up on it, to be able to pay some stuff off. So that's awesome. So if we got other options, if you're not right side up on your car, be sure to reach out to a financial coach. They'll kind of help navigate you on, you know, what you should be doing as far as selling a car that you're not right side up on. There are some options. However, they sometimes aren't the easiest. So that's one thing. But anyways, guys, again, on that video, I just really wanted to, or in today's video, I really just wanted to help you understand that there's really a ton of opportunity when it comes to your used vehicle, with them being so inflated right now on price. So hope that helps, guys. Again, if you are down with the debt-free vibe, go ahead and click subscribe. Love you to be a part of the debt-free mafia. If you'd also want to go over and head over to Facebook, facebook.com/debt-free mafia. Love to have you there too. We're building some really awesome communities here around debt-free lifestyle. Guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for stopping by in today's video. See ya. Okay, guys, that's awesome. So as you guys know, I am kind of going through this live stream, basically building up all of my videos for the week. So that's kind of why it might seem like I'm doing these short little episodes in here. So, okay, so I wanted to talk about another thing, and that is why I think the zero-based budget is the best kind of budget to have. This is the budget that I teach to my clients. This is the budget that I think is the most effective at winning with your money. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up real quick, and we are going to get going on it, and I can kind of walk you through what it look like. These are some, this is a real budget, but it's made up from, I obviously changed the names, and it's gonna look super complex, but I'm just gonna go through and kind of talk about why I think it's important. This is the budget that I walk through with my clients, and to help them budget and learn how to use a zero-based budget. Again, it's gonna look kind of complicated, but just trust me, it's not that bad. So let me see, I'm gonna share this real quick. Okay, very cool. Okay, so here is the budget, and let me adjust this just a little bit so you guys can see it. And we're gonna zoom out just a little bit too. Very cool. All right, so I have it in steps, so whenever my client has questions, they can go down to the very bottom and read these steps on what you need to do, in what order, if they can't get a hold of me or can't figure something out. So here's our budget. We got our different categories of what we're budgeting for, and then up here is our income every week of the month. So this is the month of March, so this is the first week of the month, second, third, fourth week of the month. Sometimes there's a third pay period. I think this year it was April and October. So you'll have a third pay period, so that's why there's income right here that would happen at the end of the month. So this is obviously a couple. One's getting paid the first week and the third week. The other one's getting paid the second week and the fourth week. So, and the way this works, essentially, is the way the zero-based budget works, essentially, is you budget every line item. So they're tithing $670. They're setting aside $500 for their emergency fund because they had to use it. So they're setting aside some of that stuff. They're got $560 for groceries. They got eating out's $40. They got work lunch $20. Kids lunch $40. I mean, like, it's pretty straightforward at this point. You know, we got everything that we're budgeting for and covering. And if you come down here, let's see, so we got like our debt payments. So we have our different debts that they're paying for every month. We got them broken down. This is stuff that we also go into the debt snowball and break down because sometimes these might change, so we want to keep up with them. And then if you come down here to the very bottom, this is the most important number. See how it's zero? That means it was a good zero-based budget. It means every single dollar that is coming in, so all of these up here, these are all the income dollars. So this is your paycheck as you cash it, right? It doesn't include the gross amount, this is net. And then all of your expenses for the month, every single dollar that's coming in is going out somewhere. And that's very important because we don't want any loosey-goosey dollars. That's what the point of the zero-based budget is we command money where to go. We don't let money dictate what happens to itself, right? Because if you don't have a direction for the money, chances are you're gonna blow it and it's gonna be not as purposeful as you would like. So what happens is that they use their emergency fund, so they had to use $500 for their emergency fund, which you can see it right here. This automatically captures everything that got moved into savings. Their emergency fund's in a savings, so they put $500 in there. Again, this spreadsheet is complicated, but just bear with me. I just wanted to show you the basics of it. It's essentially all your money that's coming in, all of your money that's going out, and anything that's left over, which it looked like they had about $500 left over, is going to go towards one of two things. It's either going to go towards your lowest debt, or it's going to go to a savings of some sort, even if that savings is an investment. So, and it can even be allocated towards, once we pay off our debt, once we get our emergency fund done, and once we're investing already, any extra money at that point, we'd want to start paying down our house a little bit faster. So I know I kind of keep going through baby steps really fast with you guys, but I kind of wanted to show you, this budget is capturing everything so that we can hit those goals that we have in the baby steps. So if you guys have any questions over what a zero-based budget is like, go ahead and give me some questions in the comments. I'd love to learn some more from you guys on what you don't understand about the budget, a zero-based budget, and what I can do to help explain that a little bit better. There's some really good apps out there. This is just a spreadsheet. I use a spreadsheet because it's easy to share with my clients. it helps me be able to share my screen and be able to go through it line by line, and kind of go through everything that they're budgeting for, so they can see where all their money's going, where it's going to, and what it's going to. There's some apps out there. I would rather use an app than nothing at all, right? So there's a couple of different apps that you can use that are zero-based budget. Make sure that they say zero-based budget, because some of them are just budgets, and budgets are good, but nothing is as good as a zero-based budget. And I think zero-based budgets, you can use envelopes. Starts with an M, not an E. So envelopes is a zero-based budget. I believe You Need a Budget is a zero-based budget, and then also Every Dollar. If you're a fan of Dave Ramsey, his company's got one called Every Dollar. I have a lot of clients that use that also and really like it. They all link with your bank account, so every time you make a charge on your debit card, you can click and drag essentially that charge to what category you have in your budget, and it'll help you keep track of any extra dollars you've got. Because for example, one thing I like to try to capture is like gasoline. So they got $2.56 budgeted here. If they didn't end up using all that $2.56, say they stayed home for some reason and ended up not using all of it, you could say, well, let me go ahead and change this. Let's say that they didn't use $66 of it. So what does that give us? That's going to be $190. So let's say that they used $190 instead. Oh, you guys can't see this. Hold on. Okay, so, and I'm just showing you like what the point of a zero-based budget is, because let's say that they didn't use all of the $256 budgeted for gasoline. Let's say they only used $190 of that $256 that they had budgeted. This is telling us, hey, you've got $66 left over. That's good to know. That doesn't mean it's free money. What it does is this side of the budget will tell you what's left in each category as you go through and fill in what you actually spent, which a lot of these apps do it automatically. But it'll say you have $66 left over, because it might be one of those things where you budgeted for everything, and then at the end of the month you got more money in your account than you're expecting. You're like, what the heck? Well, this will come in and capture all those extra dollars that you had budgeted, and you can throw those again at the lowest that you got, or a savings, whether it's your emergency fund or retirement or the house. So that's essentially how the zero-based budget works, guys. Again, let me know in the comments, what's hard to understand about a zero-based budget, or do you use a zero-based budget? Just kind of lets me know. I appreciate you following up with that, guys. I hope this was helpful for you. I'm so thankful that you joined me today on this stream. I'll keep this stream up on my YouTube channel. You're welcome to go and rewatch it. It will be broken down into smaller videos throughout the week, so that you can kind of keep up with that. But that's essentially what I wanted to cover today. I wanted to go over what Mark Cuban, his rules for being rich were. I wanted to go over why used cars have been so expensive lately, and then also wanted to go over why zero-based budget is so important. Guys, I hope that was helpful. Let me know again in the comments. If you don't follow me on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe, hit the like button. That helps me reach people that also care about personal finance and want to better themselves. I've recently polled all of my followers on Instagram, and I asked them, hey, has consuming the content of the Debt-Free Mafia made a positive impact on your personal finances? And there was a resounding 100% yes, it has. So go ahead, get plugged in, and let's start making a change in your life. I'd love to help you do that. So guys, again, appreciate you. Hope you have a really good rest of your week, guys, and we'll talk to you in the next one.